Now, there are two types of interest: simple interest and compound interest. Simple interest is when you have something, say, a year or less. You take the amount that you're going to borrow times the interest rate, and it will give you the amount of interest you're going to pay. That interest is based solely on the principal. Now, if we go back to your checking and savings account, some checkings give interest, not all, but we'll talk about the savings and the money markets. You want to get as much interest as possible. So if you deposit $1,000 into the savings account, you want interest on that $1,000. So let's say you made $10 in interest. The next month, you want to get interest on that $1,010. Correct? You don't want interest again on the $1,000 because you just made $10. So compound interest is interest that's on the principal amount you put into the bank plus any interest you accumulate. It's going to build faster. Where this comes into play is on smaller dollars, the difference between simple interest and compound interest is insignificant. But when you get into larger purchases, like when you buy a car or when you want to buy a house, the dollars would be significant, as we will see at the end of this section on a couple of problems you're going to do. An example of $5,000, 5% interest for 6 months. I did a simple calculation for you. 5,000 times 0.05 is the interest rate, times 0.5, which is a half a year, is $125 that you're going to make in interest for 6 months on that $5,000. Now, compounding, the way it works, so you just understand it, is you take the 5% interest, you divide it by 12 months, so you figure out how much the interest you're earning per month. So in the first month, it's $5,000 times 0.004167 gives you $20.83. Plus your $5,000, after month 1, you've made $5,020.83. In the simple interest, it would take month 2 times $5,000. Again, it's only taking into account the principal. In compounding, it's saying, okay, we're taking the principal plus the interest, and then we're adding more interest onto it. So at the end of 6 months, the balance is $5,126.31, which is a whopping $1.31. You say, big deal. Well, that's right, big deal on small dollars and a small amount of time. The one thing I want you to remember is we don't have to do all these calculations ourselves. Go on Google, Yahoo, whatever website you want, and the key word is amortization schedule. And what that does is it calculates out for you what I just did. So if you wanted to know how much interest you're going to pay on a 5-year car loan, you plug in $25,000 times, say, 5% for 5 years, and it not only will tell you how much the interest is, it'll tell you how much you're going to pay for the total of the car, and it will give you your schedule for every month. You pay this amount, this part goes towards your principal, this part goes towards your interest. Now your new balance is. So you know where you are every month in your payment process. That's a key word. Now, when we talk about credit cards, I brought one of my statements just to show you. Because of one of the new regulations in the financial industry, they now have to put on credit cards how long it's going to take you to pay off your balance if you only pay the minimum. In addition, it tells you what your late fee is going to be if you pay 1 day late. And they're going to penalize you for paying late. They're going to jump your interest rate up. So, on my card right now, my current interest rate is, anybody want to take a guess? And I pay my bills on time. Anybody want to guess what the interest rate is just for paying my bills on time? 14.24%. And this says Late payment warning. I'll leave it here for you. Okay. Right here. My minimum payment, here's my bill, $1,481.15. They're telling me my minimum payment is $25. And if I pay it late, I'm going to get hit with a $35 fee, and my interest rate can jump up to 29.99%. And the reason it's 29.99 is they can't go, by law, any higher than that. So they're taking my interest from here right up to the top for one late payment. Now, one thing I want you all to remember when you're paying is you have two ways of paying your bills. You can write a check, stick it in the mail, and hope it gets there on time. Or you can pay online, which is what a lot of people do today. They pay online, which is great. But you need to know, some companies, when you go to pay, they say your money is credited immediately upon which you hit the submit button, okay? Other companies that I pay bills to will say your money will be credited within 3 business days. I am not going to keep track. With all the bills that I'm paying every month, I'm not going to keep track of who credits my money immediately, who credits my money one day, who credits my money in 3 days. So, it's important to get in the habit of paying early. I pay all my bills online 3, 4, or 5 days early, just to be safe that I'm not going to get hit with a late fee and have to argue with the credit card company. With mail, 5, 6, 7 days, just to be safe. Because you need to remember, you're not talking to an individual initially. It's a computer. If the computer says it's due on the 1st of June and your money hits them on the 2nd of June, it's not a person saying, oh, you know what, they're only 1 day late, you know, let it go, we're not going to charge them. It's a computer. They're going to charge you. And what can happen, and sometimes it's good that it does, you could pick up the phone if it was an error or something happened, and if you have a very good history of paying your bills on time, and this one time something happened where it was just a little late, you could call them and ask them to waive the late fee. And if you have a good standing with that bank, they will waive your late fee one time. But if you have a pattern, no way. No way. You are going to get hit with the late fee. Not only the late fee, but you've already paid the interest. And you're going to get the high interest rate. The other thing, which I really like on the credit cards because of the regulation, is it tells you how much interest you're going to pay and how long it's going to take you to pay off that money. So for my $1,481, if I just paid $25 a month and did not purchase anything else, 8.58 years it's going to take me to pay that balance. 8.58. The interest is about $1,000 because my principal was $1,481 and I'm going to pay off